Hello folks, welcome to Feldy, Farming Simulator 11, map created by Farmer Yip. Well, we have planted all the fields on the map and we are awaiting harvest. And as you can see, I'm standing here in front of flowering canola. Actually, let me see here. You know, I don't recall exactly. I should have taken some notes on this. Some of these fields in here I planted as oilseed rape, and some of them I planted as canola. And what I don't recall is which is which, because this looks like canola, and this looks like canola. Now I think once we get to harvest, we're gonna be able to discern a little better. And we're just going to have to be patient in the meanwhile. And probably when I bring the windrower down here, it's going to be able to cut OSR. It will not be able to cut canola. What I wanted to do, and I have my combine down here. Yep, there's the header that we're going to use on the oilseed rape. It's this belt pickup header. Kind of cool looking. It turns and picks up the windrows. It'll be cut in the field. But what I wanted to do was be able to test or kind of see which yields or has the better yield. Is it the oilseed rape, kind of on a per acre basis, if you will? And it's going to be a little hard to tell, I guess, because or imperfect, because I don't have the same. Maybe I should flip-flop, record the yields on these fields, and then put the opposite crop in it the following season to kind of see. That way I have kind of an apples to apples comparison. But I should be able to tell a little bit, you know, if a smaller field is yielding quite a larger harvest because it's windrowed, well then we'll be able to kind of see that. So, but while it's flowering, we really don't have anything to do in here. Except we do have some hay fields kind of on the clear on the far side of the map. And you know what? I'm thinking what I should do is I need to go find where did I put my baler? I think it's on the main farm. Actually, you know what? I don't need this first. Although I'm going to drop the trailer. What I really need to get going is my windrower. Now this is this is red clover, and it's in full bloom. I think it's at full bloom anyways. Here, let me hop out real quick. Yeah, I think this is full bloom. I don't think it'll be any further growth that needs to happen. Not that I recall anyways. So I think it's ready to cut. The frustrating thing I have is, you know, I had a episode kind of talking about distance textures. If you look clear in the distance up here, you see that this is green instead of red. Now, I know it can turn red. The thing that's bothering me is, why is it green? And I notice over here, there's another field of it here, and it is also green. Even though if we get up close over there, it is definitely flowering, blooming, just like it is here. So whatever it is, I'm not 100% sure. But what I am going to do is we're going to get this going, cutting for us. And let me see, is that about the proper cut distance? You know what? That seems that's hard to tell. Maybe if I look at it up top here. Let me get just a little narrower in, and I'm going to select not dry grass, OSR, peas, too far, red clover, left side. I'm going to get it going and down, then I'm going to hit enter, and it makes that hideous sound until I get out and get back in. There we go. I have no idea why that is. I only know that it does. So I'm going to turn that off so we don't have to see it. Right now it's laying down a decent windrow, and you know, I think it's going to take care of the field here if we leave it to it. So we'll just you know, yeah, he should stay in the field. He should stay in the field. I don't think he'll be distracted by it over here. We've had issues with that before when the windrower strays kind of into a different field. I don't think we're going to run into that now. You know, another thing I've noticed in here that I don't know what causes it is look at the strips. You can kind of see strips in here where I believe the former windrow, we had that other windrower, the combine style windrower that was in here. And we sold that one to try to make some money, and even as it is, we're still in debt. Actually, how much is our debt? We're 36,000 in the hole in here, plus another nearly 28 grand in the hole on our regular cash. But anyway, it put down windrows, and it seems like it either hasn't grown back or there is something about it. I just don't know what it is. All I know is you can faintly see where those other windrows sat. So be that as it may, we're going to turn this fella loose, and I'm going to go get our tractors, and we're going to bring them up here and get them ready to haul or make bales and haul them off. And I'm kind of hoping that by the time we do that, we get through all that, you know, this grain over here will be ready to harvest, and other areas of the map will be ready to start harvest in earnest. But we'll just take care of some baling activity while we're kind of in between times. We could also harvest some of this for feed stuff, take it up to our sheep. So maybe some of it will go on the at. We have our forage harvester sitting over there idle at the moment. So some of it we may dedicate to the at. But really, in order for the sheep to do anything with it, they also need water, which means, of course, we need more biofuel to go pump more water, and we don't have any biofuel at the moment. So, but that may be something we do with it as well. Anyway, let's hop off of him. We'll head back. Oh, speaking of the forage harvester, there it is. Another field ready to go up there. Yeah, we've brought our tractor down here with the potato harvester. That was kind of a long slog to get here. Our potatoes are still in the bloom state, dead ahead of the tractor. I think I'm going to try using this older tractor here to do the harvesting this go around versus the big Raba tractor. Let me drop our... Yeah, this is where I wish we kind of had follow me in here, because I would love to have one tractor follow the other. Right now we're going to just take him up the hill, and actually we kind of got to turn here through our hedge and head on down this way on the road farmer you have made. We don't want to run over our pristine crop. And once again, you know, I think it's OSR on the right. I think it's canola on the left. I believe that's kind of how I planted it. But we'll see, because that little windrower that we have going up there in the red clover, oh boy, it's going to be put to lots of use this time, because it's going to have a ton more windrowing to do once it gets through with the red clover and whatever else we choose to put it through. But I'm going to take this fella up here. I'm going to go grab the baler, and then I'm going to go grab the other tractor, and we'll get the bale picker-upper, or whatever that thing is called. There's our waterfall with that lovely texture we put in there. Oh yeah, we're going to be hiding behind a pillar here. Oh, I don't like that part of it. But it was a sacrifice, so we didn't have to keep dipping behind the tractor anymore. That was driving me nuts. But I don't really like having to try to find our tractor in between all these objects. Now, I'm pretty sure we left our baler up here on the main farm. So I'm going to go up here and see if I'm right. I think it's right around the corner. Whoops, can't see through there. Yep, there it is. You might even hear the voice of Farmer Yip as we get near to this area. This is where we spawn into the game, and he gives us the sober counsel that we need to get our butt out there and start farming. And brother, we take that seriously being here. Let me fill it full of juice while we're here. Oh, and it popped up our HUD. 1,129 bales made. That is one whale of a lot of bales I've hauled. You know, we seem to earn a little bit of decent money off of them, so I don't mind hauling them. But that's a lot of hauling. You know, as I look ahead, as I look to the left here, I think we got a couple cornfields. Even to the right up here is another cornfield. There's several cornfields here. You know, they're just not growing up quite as much as it is down on the flat, so you can kind of see the difference in timing as to when these fields were planted versus the others. But I'm really looking forward to this coming harvest here, because I want to see what the impact of fertilizing them has done. Oh, actually, we got cornfields galore up in here. Here's another one we're turning around against here. Actually, you know what? I missed the road. I missed my turnoff. So I believe if I look at the map here, yeah, where I really want to go is, I think, up the road right here. And I used to just cut across these fields, but like I say, now they're planted and have crop in them, so that just isn't gonna do. And you know, I know if I drove over there, it isn't gonna smash anything down. We all know that. But I seem to recall there was a mod, maybe it was for tire tracks. I'd have to go looking for it. I'm pretty sure I recall having it in there and watching when I drove over crop and saw it smashed. And even in the most recent version of Farm Sim 22, isn't a default where you don't smash any crop. I kind of think it is. Maybe there's a setting you can turn it on and it will smash the crop down. I don't know. That's interesting. Look at how the striping is. It's green on one side, and on the other it's, oh, I see, it's trying to simulate where those windrows are. Interesting. We're just going to park this fella back here, kind of where we started windrowing, and get him all ready to go. And we're going to have a lot of bales here to haul. I think I set up horseplay once upon a time. Shoot, I'll just bale a few while I'm here. I don't want to bale too many, as I don't want to get in his way. But I'll just get a few going here. Ah, love it. Oh, it'd help if I open the back door, wouldn't it? Yeah, I don't know that I've shown much on baling of... Oh, I kind of missed the corner there a little bit, because my poor driving. Don't know that I've showed a ton on baling of red clover or too much. I've tried to do a lot of that off cam. I'll just get down around the corner here and kind of shut it off for the moment, because I realize it may not be the most exciting things to watch. Alright, let's go get our other tractor. Oh, that's a combine. Here we go. We're going to do the same thing and kind of head on up. Now, where did I put that thing? Oh, you know what? I bet I know where it is. I think it's kind of at this farm store. So this time I'll bypass the main farmyard. I'll take a different route to kind of get up to the middle of the map where the farm shop or store is. Because I believe that is where we dropped the bale accumulator picker-upper thingy, the bobber, whatever it is. And once again, I'm not going to be able to drive across the field, so I'm going to have to shoot for the road on the far side over here, because I don't want to smash down my beautiful flowering crop of, I think this was OSR I put in on the right, oilseed rape. Whoa, what's going on over there? Oh, yes, I remember this. Let's take a look at this real quick. This was an idiotic move on my part. Right here, you know, there obviously isn't anything flowering. I accidentally hit one of the keys that changed the type of crop grown in the cedar. You know, I think in later versions, as a person planted, I don't care if I drive over this stuff because it ain't supposed to be here. But I think in later versions, they made it so you couldn't accidentally change the type of seed that you were planting, just as you were going. Somehow I hit it, and fortunately I noticed it really quick, so I could get it turned back into canola or oilseed rape, whichever one was going there. Now just a blooper. Anyway, we have, and this time, as we all know, all of the fields are planted. Every last field on the map is now going to be productive. When we started the map, there's our corn header getting ready for harvest, just kind of sitting there where we'll need it with the combine. Now, when we started the map, several fields were lying fallow, and we decided to put a crop in everything this year, so it'll be whole farm production going on. And as you've noticed, we've had a boatload of canola. We're coming into a whole bunch of cornfields here. I tried to stack them in a way that made sense, somewhat close to the biofuel producer down there. That's primarily what we're going to use our corn for, and the OSR and canola. We're going to take it down there and produce lots of biofuel, which is going to be used then up in what am I coming up here? I'm like a homing pigeon. Good grief. I need to go get the bale picker upper thingy. Get to talking and forget where I'm at. But that's kind of the goal, is to prepare a lot of biofuel so we can pump water, we can mix feed, we can do whatever we need to do in here. And I think in a previous episode, I already showed some analysis that I did looking at the cost, if you will, cost in terms of biofuel of producing fertilizer. For whatever reason, the map author gave us two alternatives for producing fertilizer that we can use in here. And one is the kelp, the kelp beds in the ocean. And that seems pretty straightforward in just getting kelp and biofuel, and you're done. And the other was through mining, and we are going to give that a try. I've never done it before, so I kind of want to see kind of how it works. Let me just go get a little juice. All right. It's getting more and more and more in debt. I'll slip over through here. I'm just going to head across over here and take a different road over to the northwest section, if you will. So we are going to give it a try, mining some materials. We'll go back down to the quarry, because it's just a unique feature of this map, to have the availability to do that. So we are going to give it a try. But I think if we were going to farm in here long term, we would use primarily the kelp fertilizer, because it's much cheaper and easier to make than this other style. Kind of like I commented in here last time, it would have been interesting, I think, to change up the production so that it was cheaper, maybe with more bulk handling, to do the mined version, so that it made a little more sense for the player to try it. But maybe he wanted us to try to see that, hey, the kelp is a better deal and stay out of the mine. So maybe that was just part of how he designed and wanted us to come to that conclusion. Well, we are already 5 windrows in with our handy windrower. Boy, I'm getting a little stuttering. What are my FPS? Oh, 30 FPS. That reminds me, I gotta be careful. I get bad allocation errors on this map. I've had it a few times when I run it too long. So, you know what? We are gonna let this sit here. I'm gonna turn it off. I guess I appreciate that our windrower pretty much tends to task in here and doesn't need a whole lot of space to turn around. So I think what we can do is we'll just keep firing away on this baler. Let's see, is that down? Nope, we're down. And I would remind us on the baler, I know I covered this kind of in a previous episode, but I modded there, see how I picked up that windrow even though I wasn't over the top of it? I modded the pickup area of the baler, if you will, so that it wasn't quite as narrow, and that you could pick up windrows even if it was outside of the pickup area. That's just a little more realistic to my eyes and a little less frustrating in game, with unless I totally drive crooked, a lot fewer times of backing up and redoing. And the one thing I don't like about the windrower is when it backs up the header, it deletes the end of the windrow, which is kind of disconcerting. That's all right. I'm going to just manufacture hay bales and dream about the money we're going to make here. I'm trying to remember how much each bale is worth. And maybe what I should do is I have my cell phone. I don't even have my cell phone on me. I'm not sure where it is. I was going to do some math. Oh well, I'll maybe do that off cam. All I know is each time we get down there, we get, what do we get? It seems like it's just under 10 grand a piece. So the more trailers you take down there, if you figure 10 grand a whack, that starts making, I can't even drive, starts making a difference in our debt load. Let me look across here. I think the colors are somewhat correct. You know, it's something that's messing with this is, you see how green the field is under all this. And this is similar to how the grass is planted. In this version of Farming Sim, grass, while it was a fruit in the map, it wasn't one that behaves similar to the other fruits. Meaning you could still see drill rows and dirt underneath and all that. That just wasn't the case when you plant grass. Although it appears Farmer Yip kind of dealt with that in the map here, and I'm not sure how he did, because I've noticed a few times when the cultivator is strayed and I've cut, into the edge of the field where I don't want to, and I try to replant it as grass, I've noticed that it puts drill rows under it. So, I noticed that didn't really start happening until Farm Sim 13 and 15, I think, with the advent of the soil mod, where Decker had it set up. I think you could have grass as a fruit within the soil mod, and you could impact it with fertilizer and what have you. Whereas in the base game, was kind of a bad term. Whereas in the base game, when you plant grass, even up into Farm Sim 15, it just reduced it to kind of this green texture. You could no longer cultivate it out. You had to bring in the plow to tear it up if you wanted to, which isn't the worst thought. A lot of times if you have a thick layer of sod on a field, it might indeed be a plow that you would use to kind of rip it up. But this is kind of what we have. So Farmer Yip chose to put in red clover kind of over the top of this green texture, and I haven't planted any red clover, but I'd bet money that if I planted some, it would put it over the top of drill rows, just like we see when we plant barley or wheat or any of these other fruits. So I suppose what I could try at some point is to rip this field out with a plow and then replant it to red clover and see kind of how it behaves. And I don't know if that has anything to do with how the distance textures appear. And you see that light green color, it just doesn't quite match the field. But I think the reason for that is it's anticipating the presence of drill rows. If I could drive straight, that would be ever so helpful. Back up here. Feels like our tractor is sniffing continually. But maybe if I turned it into drill rows, maybe the harvest colors would appear appropriate too. The trouble is the first time when we harvested this, and maybe some of you remember, it was flowering, ready to go, ready to harvest, And when you looked off in the distance, you saw red, which is exactly what you would expect in a full-on kind of red harvestable field of clover. But it just, this time around, as a crop regrows, for whatever reason, it just isn't looking the same, and I'm a little baffled as to why. And maybe some of that is part of what keeps me coming back to this game. You know, as frustrating as some of these things can be, it's also pretty rewarding to be able to dig in and to fix some of it, and sometimes you have to admit defeat. You know, maybe there's something you just don't have the skills to fix, or maybe it can't be fixed based on how the game is designed. But it's all part of the fun, at least to me. Oop! Oh, I skipped a spot there again. Maybe I need to widen the work area on this even a little bit more. And you know, as I look at this, I'm using the smaller windrow. Oh, boy, it is just topsy-turvy to try to steer this thing. I'm using the small windrower in the field right now. The first time when I harvested this or baled it, I used I call it the combine windrower. It's the Yip windrower. I ended up selling it. The header was much wider, and it dropped a similar size windrow, but it just fewer of them. And I know we've gone over that in here in these older versions of the game. It didn't do as good a job recording the amount of material sitting inside the windrow. So with the player, what you had is you know, if you consolidated windrows, you ended up getting less bales. And so that's kind of why we're not raking any of these together. We're just picking them up straight, because I want all the bales I can get. And frankly, I'm not sure we'd be able to rake them together. You know, we would need a modded rake in order to do it. You know, I think if we use the in-game rake, you know, they'll work on grass and dry grass and hay and that kind of thing. But I don't think they're set up to just work on red clover until, you know, we modded it. So I've never asked Yip, you know, if he ever conceived of using a windrower or something on these windrows dropped for these new fruits that he put in the map. And probably not, if I had venture a guess. I mean, because number one, it isn't in his equipment pack, you know, the mods that he included with the map. And secondly, he had a large header on the windrower that he had, so it was plenty spread out and already kind of consolidated, if you will. So he may have just assumed that it was big enough area, consolidated enough in those windrows that the player wouldn't even need or look for a way to consolidate them further. Just one of the many improvements that was made in the game later on in later versions. You know, as I look at our baler as it goes along here, cranking out the bales, it's slowly going to be turning orange, and it's going to, you know, I think it's intended to show dirt, and maybe we need to replace the textures that are on here. You know, when Yip put these in the pack for the map, this one came with the ability to become dirty. And we do have a trailer down there, that TSL trailer that we can get seeds in, and I think also fertilizer if we have the right fertilizer spreader. I think it also would replenish those. But it also has this handy pressure washer in it that we could use. I want to try it at some point to wash the baler off. So we do have equipment now where we can handle dirty things in here and make them clean. But I kind of think this baler here was intended to be yellow, and the trouble with the dirt skin that comes on it, the dirt covering, is it turns it red and adds New Holland decals to the side of the baler. And maybe that was intended, maybe not. I really don't know. But I think most of us, when we conceive of it, why did it skip that down there? When we conceive of a dirt texture, we don't think of New Holland or the decals as being akin to dirt. I really like that script for the autopilot script for the windrower that we're using there. It's done an excellent job keeping him going around and around and taking care of cutting all of this here red clover. And I know I'm going faster than him, but I must have got him going soon enough that he was able to get out ahead. I mean, he'll finish that off before I can finish baling behind him. So it's working pretty good for timing. I know it's just costing me a little bit in terms of higher delta. Yeah, see, there was the first time I kind of got in his way. But I love it that the bales aren't facing him or getting in his way. Maybe if I was exactly behind him with the bales, they would. Yeah, see, I'm in his way again. He gets to kind of see me there. There goes the bell. I'll maybe just try to finish up baling this to round out the episode. But I think this will give us, I'll maybe try to haul these down to the sell point off cam, spare you having to watch all that. I kind of want to set up a course play and see if it'll haul them down. Maybe I even have one already that kind of starts over there and will at least take care of some of the hauling to get it down there, so I don't have to monitor it. Because I'm pretty sure when I get done with the bales, get it sent down over there, I'll have a windrower here to deal with. And maybe some of that other red clover that's up the hill to the east, I'll need to turn into feed stuff for our hungry sheep. Looks like he's taken one last windrow. Oh yeah, we got way more bales here. Now don't just back up there. Yeah, see how it just kind of scrapes all that windrow off. Let me see if I can skip around him here and pick all that up. Alright, you know what? I think I'm going to call it there. Let me dump my map here. Thank you so much for joining me on an episode of Feldy. Hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to try to clean up these bales and take care of our windrower here and get them going on another field. And I will see you on the next one. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye for now.